Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Youth Services Committee meeting. We have a full agenda, so I'd like to call our meeting to order at 1:32 p.m. My name is Tui Scanlon, chair of this committee. I would like to acknowledge our vice chair, Carla Kurokawa. This is a public meeting under the open meeting law. The committee members and public guests are viewing in Zoom, and we have staff at the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations Office, room 317, in case members and guests wish to meet at an on-site location. To start the meeting and to document in the minutes, I will ask members and guests to introduce themselves with name and organization. Let's see if we could. Let's go with Vice Chair, please.
Carla Kurokawa with Alulike.
Thank you. Executive Director?
Bernard Misalucha, Executive Director of the Workforce Development Council.
Let's go to Matt Stevens.
Hi, everyone. Matt Stevens with the Hawaii Workforce Funders Collaborative.
Thank you. Kaulana McCabe, please.
Well, Kaulana McCabe with Kupu.
Thank you. Stephen Schatz.
Hi, Stephen Schatz with Hawaii P20.
Thank you. Leah Diaz, please.
Aloha, good afternoon. Leah Diaz, Administrator, State Division of Vocational Rehabilitation.
Thank you. Christopher Lumley, please.
Chris Lumley, Oahu Workforce Development Board.
Thank you. Warren Kawana.
Warren Kawana, Hawaii P20.
Thank you. Wanel Kaneshiro, please.
Hi, Winel Kadashiro, Department of Education, Workforce Development.
Thank you. Ryan Shimabukuro, please.
Aloha, Ryan Shimabukuro with Hawaii P20.
Thank you. Let's go to Jen Sagontaiza. Hopefully I said that correctly.
That was perfect. Thank you. Jen Sagante as a Hawaii Workforce Pipeline Senior Intermediary Manager.
Thank you. Rona Fukumoto, please.
Hi, Rona Fukumoto, Lanikila Pacific and Workforce Development Council.
Thank you. Janet Davidson, please.
Hi, Janet Davidson. I'm with Chaminade University of Honolulu.
Copy that. Thank you. Halen Dennison, please.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Halen. Thanks for having me. I'm from Spill the Tea Cafe. We are a nonprofit mental health clinic for youth.
Very good. Thank you. Nalani K.
Aloha, my name is Nalani from Kupu.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, Harrison Kuranichi.
Hello, everyone. Harrison Kornishi, Oahu Workforce Development Board.
Copy that. Thank you. And I am Tui Scanlon with IETSE Local 665. Let's move in to today's presentations. We at WDC are always looking for opportunities to support Hawaii's youth in their career development. Environmental conservation and sustainability are critical pathways that align with both Hawaii's economic needs and cultural values. We are privileged to have Kaulana McCabe with us, VP of Programs at Kupu Foundation. Kupu has been an exemplary model of how to empower Hawaii's youth through hands-on service opportunities. Kaulana will show us how their conservation-focused programs build workforce skills and create meaningful career pathways. So without further ado, Kaulana, please take us away.
Thank you, Tui. I'm going to share my screen if that's possible. Let's see. Can everyone see that?
Not just yet, but real quick, I forgot to ask for our folks in WDC room 317, please introduce yourselves.
Thanks, Chair. I'm Kelly Kitemis, staff with WDC, and we also have a member of the public attending here in person today.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Raymond Sin, active duty United States Air Force, just here as a public observer.
Very cool. My sincere apologies for not asking you all to introduce yourselves. Thank you very much for your patience. Kaulana, please.
Are you able to see the presentation?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys, everyone, for having me. Like Tui was saying, my name is Kaulana McCabe. I'm the Vice President.
Excuse me, Kaulana. For some reason, your microphone is either not working or you're muffled.
And if I speak louder, can you hear me?
Better, much better.
Okay. So my name is Kaulana McCabe. I'm the Vice President of Programs with Kupu, like Tui was saying. I've been with Kupu for about 8 years now, not in this role. In this role, I've been with Kupu for about 2 years. And for those of you who are familiar with Kupu, this might be very familiar information, and so I apologize. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Kupu, I'm just going to dive into a few of the different programs that we currently have, the larger programs. that you might see examples of around the state. So for those of you who don't know who Kupu is, we're a 501c3 nonprofit. We got started up in about 2007, and we started with a single program. It was the Hawaii Youth Conservation Corps, and it was a $50,000 grant. And we ran it on the island of Kauai, and we served a number of a small amount of youth, and we had paid them to do some work on the island of Kauai. And since then, we have grown to serve approximately 300 to 400 youth a year across the state, in addition to Guam, Saipan, and American Samoa. And so you can see here, we have over 200 partners, or what we call site partners. And those are partners that are actually out there doing the work. There are a lot of organizations that you guys are very familiar with. If you're in Kaneohe, you might know Paipai'ohe'eia. If you are on Maui and you know the national parks in Haleakala, those are the examples of sites that we work with to find good people who are interested in doing conservation, sustainability, agriculture work. And we pair them with the organizations, our site partners, and we recruit, hire, pay, and provide training. And then the hands-on work that our young adults get to do in these positions are primarily provided by our site partners. So we have a number of programs that these members can go through, and depending on the program that you go into, it depends on the type of work you'll do, the benefits that you receive, the length of time that you're serving with us, and the eligibility as well. And so I'll go a little bit into each one. I won't go too much into each one, but I'll also offer an opportunity for you guys to ask questions if you guys are curious and I didn't get into something that you may want to know. So the first program that I just wanted to talk about was our Hawaii Youth Conservation Corps summer program. We're currently ramping up for it right now. This is our shortest program, but it's also the flagship program of the organization. And so this is the one that started on the island of Kauai, and it's for youth ages 17 and over. Right now, we are only running it on Oahu and Maui, whereas in the past we used to run it statewide. The reason we made that change was because we're in a transition year, where we actually surveyed a bunch of young adults in school to find out what they really wanted to do during the summer, because we noticed that there was a decline in applications over the years that we were running the program. And so after we surveyed them, we saw that they wanted, 1, paid jobs. That was the most important thing to them. 2 was they wanted to hang out with their friends. And so what we did was we changed the program model so that we could pay the members an hourly wage. And so because of that, we actually saw a rise in our applications this year. But because of the transition year, we narrowed it down to just Oahu and Maui to test out the new model. And then we plan to roll it out back to the rest of the state in the next year. So when members join with us, they serve for 300 hours or about 8 weeks for full time. And they earn $18 an hour. And then when they're done with their term, they get a $1,565 education award, which is good up to 7 years. And the members can use that for any educational expense, whether it be supplies for school, tuition, or even paying off student loans as well. The last thing, and then the other thing that they get to do is gain hands-on experience and networking opportunities. And so they get to go out and actually, just like a summer position or a summer job, they get to go to an organization within their community and work with that organization and add capacity to that organization and help them reach their conservation goals. And so this is our summer program. The next one is our Kupu Aina Corps. And so Kupu Aina Corps was actually created out of the CARES Act. And so it was Kupu's response to COVID in 2020, when everyone was losing employment. Kupu actually created employment opportunities. And through the CARES Act, we were able to offer jobs that were outside of the buildings that they typically would be working in. And so it was actually a safe space for them to be out, do conservation work, get paid. And so they wouldn't actually be on unemployment. And so that was version 1. Since then, we were able to go back to the legislature and advocate for the Green Jobs Youth Corps bill, which continues to fund Kupu Aina Corps today. And so we're very happy that Ledge just closed and that our bill passed again. And so we're happy to be able to see Kupu Aina Corps continuing on. This program serves anywhere between 17 to 38 years old, and you can participate part-time or full-time up to a year long at minimum 10 months. And you get paid $18 to $20 an hour, and they get PTO and healthcare through these positions. This program, different from our other programs, you're actually allowed to get placed at a for-profit organization, whereas others are specifically nonprofits. And so we have partners like HECO and others who are host sites, our site partners, where these members get to go and work with. And so this program also expands our conservation positions to not just conservation, but renewable energy, sustainability careers, agriculture as well across the state. And then our last, second to the last program I'll talk about is our Conservation Leadership Development Program. This one it has been one of our largest programs for many years. And in this program, you can serve anywhere between 6 to 11 months. All positions are full-time, and so you have to work an average of 40 hours through the time that you're with us. And we have a start date every month. So as we recruit young adults, we put them into the positions, and depending on the time they enroll, they can potentially start the very next month with us. This one as well, 17 and older. And the benefits for this position are $17 an hour. Right now it's $18 an hour on Maui. And depending on how long you serve, the full length of 11 months gets you an educational award of $7,395, which again can be used to pay off student loans, educational expenses, or tuition. This program also offers opportunities for professional development workshops as well as service days and service trips. The cool thing about service trips is it's an opportunity for all of our members across the state and in Guam and some American Samoa to come together and serve alongside each other for an 2 or 3 days. And so, for example, we just had a service trip finish, I think yesterday, where the group just came back from Ko'olave. And so we had members fly in to Maui from different parts of the Pacific, serve on Ko'olave for a few days, and then they just finished yesterday. So that's our Conservation Leadership Development Program. And I think the last one I'll talk about today is our community program. And so our community program, this is the program I started with. So I actually have no background in conservation. My background is actually in social work. And I'm a graduate of social work at UH. And so I came to the community program because it was a great intersection of education and workforce development and a bit of social work, and all the time tied into one program. And so the community program operates out of our facility, which you may be familiar with. It's the Harry Engineer Weinberg Ho'okupu Center out in Kewalo Basin in Kaka'ako. And that program serves young adults who are dropping out of high school. And we just recently expanded a couple years ago to start serving young adults who are about to drop out of high school, but we're able to actually catch them prior to them leaving. And so we offer a GED pathway in this program, paid opportunities to paid work opportunities, and volunteer service and conservation. You have to be 16 to 24 years old. And in addition to the GED pathway, like I was mentioning, we also offer an alternative learning program in partnership with the DOE. And so that just means that young adults can get a high school diploma, a traditional high school diploma, rather than a GED, because we work with the DOE to identify young adults who are about to drop out because they're falling behind a bit, but they just need a different setting, a different set of people to work with, different set of attention and love. And then we're able to actually get them back on track and graduated with a traditional high school diploma rather than a GED. This program serves youth for up to a year. But we have, depending on the need of the student, we've been known to actually allow them to stay much longer if necessary. But our goal is to get them graduated within a year. And the other, some things that we provide in this program is breakfast, lunch, because when they drop out of school, they lose access to that resource in the schools. We provide, like I said, the volunteer opportunities for the young adults and the education pathways. And then as they start to get closer to their graduation, we also connect them with paid opportunities as well. And I believe that might be the last one. So I'm going to stop there. There's a lot more I could share about Kupu, but I think that at that point, I'll probably be here for the next like few hours. And so I'll stop there. And if any of you have any questions or want to know a little bit more about the programs, or there's a program you might be aware of. I saw some of the P20 Ohana that are familiar with our education program, which is a bit different from the one I just explained. So if there's a program that I didn't touch on, that you are aware of and or want to know more about, I can also answer those questions or talk more about that. But I'll stop right there. I'll turn it over to all of you if you have any questions.
Awesome. Well, mahalo nui loa, Kalana. Are there any questions from our attendees? If you have a question, just feel free to raise your electronic hand and hop on in.
Stop sharing too.
I have one, Chair. Oh, Leah
Yeah,
first.
let's go to Leah first, then we'll come to you.
Hi, thank you, Kaulana. That was such a great presentation. I'm curious about the upper age range. I know for some of them you mentioned at least 17, and there was one you said 17 to 30 something, and then there were some you said 17 plus. So is there any program that has an upper cutoff age beyond that 30, whatever it was?
The only cutoff is Kupuaina Core 38.
Yeah.
And so the reason that there's a cutoff there is because when we first created the Kupuaina program under the CARES Act, we were required to keep it at that age by the legislature. And so they kept that age going after we got the program back and got it through the Green Jobs Youth Corps. The other programs don't have a cutoff age, but what I will say is that when we do our recruiting efforts, we primarily target young adults anywhere between 17 to 24. And so when you look at the makeup of our population served, you'll find that most of them are within that range, but you'll also see some one-offs where there are people that are above that. And because the programs are allowed to serve higher than 24 years old, we don't tell them no, but our main efforts are 17 to 24 years old.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So I have a question, Chair. Okay. So Kaulana, thank you very much. I agree with Leah. That was a fantastic presentation. Could you clarify a little bit about the funding again? Because is it 100% locally funded? Is it partly federal funded? Because I know you mentioned about the recent bill that got passed that actually, hey, kudos. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So it's a good mix. When I first started with the organization, it was primarily government funding. Now it's about 50-50 where it's philanthropic. And that philanthropic majority is local, but some of it is from our continent or national organizations. And then the other half is government funding, and that's government from the county level all the way to the federal level. And so I think our funding is fairly diversified. Our biggest funder by far, though, on the government end is a federal government. And so anyone between contracts that we have with our individual host sites, whether that be the national parks or Fish and Wildlife Service or Forest Service or others. And then also some of you may have seen in the news recently, but the AmeriCorps program, which has recently been getting cut, but thankfully for some reason, our type of grant has gotten spared. So we're very grateful for that. We're continuing to move on with that right now. Yeah.
That's what I was going to go next. Like, are there any cuts in the federal side that will impact you, or you anticipate will impact you?
We are anticipating it. I think what we anticipate to see is, I think we just saw the presidential budget come out and he zeroed out AmeriCorps entirely. And so we've been told that in past presidential budgets, you can kind of like just look at them as just a first draft, and that is probably going to get torn up. But in this case, we probably should take it more seriously. And so we're a little bit concerned about the future of AmeriCorps. But we're already creating contingency plans around that. The other area that we're not certain what we'll see just yet is whether we'll see a recession in positions requested from our site partners, our federal site partners. And so, for example, National Parks is one of our bigger partners, and they request anywhere up to the 20 to 30 positions every year within the parks that are here in the Pacific. And we're not sure. We've seen parks try to use the strategy of getting Kupu members to help replace the staff that they're losing. We've also seen some parks say that they don't have any more resources to be able to get Kupu members or keep on their regular staff. And so we're right now in the process of reaching out to them to see what the upcoming year is going to look like. So we are expecting a shift in that. We just don't know which direction just yet.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Kaulana.
Yep. I got a question real quick. What are some of the challenges that you face in connecting youth with these opportunities? And when and how do you work to overcome them? Like when you face them, how does that manifest? What does it look like? What kind of support would you need from the folks in this room who may know a thing or two about a thing or two? Like, how can we help? What are some of the challenges you face?
I'd say, so one of the challenges that we're currently overcoming 1 year ago, if you looked at our recruitment data, they were starting to decline. And the reason that I think we started to decline is because we just continued to use the same recruitment efforts that we had over the years and trusted that it would work. And so what we did was we relooked at how we were approaching young adults. And I think it was probably this time last year, we did our first partnership with the social media influencer. And now we're like moving on to like the 4th social media influencer. And so we've been partnering with people like the next one coming up is Tumua. The one before him is Magic Mike out in North Shore. And so we're basically trying to find where the kids are looking at right now. And rather than just assuming that they're going to know what Kupu is and follow our Instagram or our social media, we know that's not the case. And so we're starting to go where they're at. And so if you guys know have any connections with any opportunities, you'd be amazed at how hard it is to get in touch with, get responses from, and get them solidified, the social media influencers. And so if you guys have friends or relation, I mean, a lot of them are from here, right? And we want to find local social media influencers. Passion Santos was another one. We ended up having to go through like a friend of hers to get in touch with her, because if you just try to get in touch with her through the normal way, you just get left on red. And so we started doing that, and we started employing other new strategies, recruitment strategies. And right now, I think we hit a new record for our organization's member applications for the organization. I think we just surpassed 1,600 applications this year. And we haven't closed the application yet. And we're only halfway done through the year. And so I think we're on a great track record for that. But the thing that we want to improve in is about low 70% on average in the programs I just mentioned are local applicants. I want to get the number higher. And the reason that we have non-local applicants is because AmeriCorps naturally, without any of our involvement, takes the positions and advertises them on the national level. And so you have people that are Googling conservation service opportunity, and then they see Hawaii and they see other places, and Kupu naturally comes up at the top of those things. And so we can't stop that. So we naturally get those applications in. So I want to raise the ratio of local applicants in that pool to be higher now. So if you guys know of any good recruiting opportunities for us to get in touch with local youth, or new strategies that we want to play around with, much like the ones we were doing with social media influencers, we're open to any and all ideas. I'd say the next thing and the other one to say is we need to shorten the turnaround time of getting them applied, because it's really hard. I think if the funding sources from our other sites and the capacity from our other sites they vary. And so sites may not have the capacity to interview or to onboard, or they don't have the work right now. And so they apply for a position and then they wait. And so we have the 1,600 applications, and now we're waiting to place them because sites are moving at their own pace. And rightfully so. They don't have the funding, they don't have the work just yet, but they anticipate it. And so the applicants that we're recruiting end up sitting in there for a while. And in the meantime, we're competing against other employers like McDonald's and whoever else who will hire them within the 2 weeks. And so that's one of our other areas. The way that you guys can help us with that is if you know of any potential host sites who we could partner with that are ready to go and are eager to move, let us know, because we're trying to find more host sites. So that way the large applicant pool, we have a number of places to put them at.
Very cool. Thank you. Let's go to Chris Lumley.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So I had a question kind of following up on Bennett's question about if you had anticipated any funding issues. Do you guys have a plan in place, or some ideas at least? Not going to ask specifics, obviously, but any possible ideas as to how you could fill some of those gaps if there were substantial funding cuts from either existing operations or other or new ideas for you?
Yeah, so everyone just saw that the new green fee bill got passed, and so that's one thing that we're excited about. DLNR is one of our biggest partners, and they're anticipating an additional $100 million that's going into their budget for conservation, sustainability work, and wildfire prevention work. And so, like I said, we've been a partner of theirs for many years. They're our main partner on the Kupu Core program. And so we're looking forward to working with them and figuring out how we can support them in reaching their goals and actually tapping into that fund, if possible. The other thing that we're gonna lean on is in this time of need, we want to put together a really strong plan for our philanthropic partners who typically give at a certain level, but because of the situation right now, we can encourage them to give a bit larger for a shorter period of time, so that way they can help us year by year and fill that gap. If AmeriCorps were to leave us, we're looking at a gap of maybe about $3 million approximately, and we feel pretty confident that between our partnership with DLNR, in addition to the strong relationships that we've had with the philanthropic community, that we can make a good chunk of it up there, and we can just continue to do those positions at least as long as we can through the next 4 years.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. Bennett.
As long as there's no other person who might want to ask a question.
No one else
Okay.
on the queue.
Okay, question for you, Kolana. And this is more along the assumption that there's a lot of similarities between the profile of WIOA recipients and folks for Kupu. Have you had any partnerships in the past or explored any partnerships in the past between Kupu and WIOA in any of the islands?
Yeah, we have. We've worked with American Job Centers. When I first started in this role with the community program, we actually had an agreement with the Liliuokalani Trust, and they were funding both the American Job Center and us to put a partnership together on the west side. Another time we actually reconnected was not long after that, when we tried to combine services for the young adults that we were serving in our Ho'okupu Center in Kewalo Basin. And then there was a couple other times where we explored the opportunities to partner, but it was in shallow ways. Right now, what we're doing with American Job Center is we're enrolling our youth into their program from our community program. And what they're providing are simple things like bus passes and whatnot. The primary bulk of the services are still being provided at our center, but then we're accessing some of the support services from the WIOA program or from the American Job Center.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Any further questions? Okay, seeing none. Mahalo nui loa, Kolana. We look forward to hearing more from you. And if there's, stuff that we can help out with, please reach out to us. I'm more than willing to connect. Thank you very much for that awesome presentation.
Thank you all.
Chair, just to let you know, we are also exploring the possibility of going on a field trip to their site for this youth.
So
group.
down. So down. Have boots, we'll travel.
Yeah.
All right. We now have Warren Kawano from Hawaii P20 who will present on a project funded by our WIOA unexpended funds. This initiative focuses on expanding work-based learning opportunities through intermediary support. Warren?
All right, thanks for having us today. I'm actually going to pass it off to our work-based learning guy. I think that's his official title. Ryan Shimabukuro is our main point on work-based learning and work-based learning intermediaries. So without further ado, Ryan.
Thanks, Warren. Yes, the work-based learning guy within our team. Aloha. Thank you for having us today. And whenever I give a presentation like this, I typically start with our why, and that's exactly what I'll be doing in this presentation, is kind of highlighting the why and the what of the project. And then I've also invited one of our work-based learning intermediaries, Jen from Hawaii Workforce Pipeline, to kind of highlight the how, and hopefully that can give you a good 360 picture of what it is we're talking about. But I'm sure this picture resonates with a few of you or all of you, if all of us in this corner of the work here. And yeah, very easy to explain, and then not easy to untangle this sort of web. And specifically when you're talking about education and industry, I think these relationships, they can be very complex. They can lead to a lot of inefficiencies and a lot of missed opportunities, frankly speaking, for our students. And so this is really what this project is aimed at solving for, is sort of, I don't think you can completely untangle the web of relationships here, but sort of add some coordinating structures to it. And that is through work-based learning intermediaries, excuse me. The work of intermediaries is a national best practice. There are a lot of really good examples happening on the mainland. It's not new, but I would say relatively new for our state. I think one of the biggest things that we see in terms of the opportunity is really an integrated solution and inserting an integrated solution to manage these relationships and ultimately increase the opportunities for students, work-based learning opportunities. And so for the past 3 years, P20 has invested in this area, both with resources and time. We've recruited a number of work-based learning intermediaries. We're also facilitating some cross-intermediary learning with one another, sharing best practices, and making connections, frankly, between the intermediaries as they go through their individual journeys with their regions. And like I said, the biggest goal in this work is to increase those opportunities and increase the industry connections for the K-12 space to address all of these opportunities. Very quickly, just the role that we're talking about here. Very simply put, this is the bridge. These are the relationship brokers between schools and employers and schools. They are adding capacity to K-12 pathways. They do that by generating career exploration activities, recruiting industry, managing opportunities, data collection, supporting teachers in a number of ways on top of externships. And then just generally speaking, the feedback that we get from a lot of the schools as we kind of do our research and talk story with them is just the added capacity to broker these relationships. Industry's busy, teachers are busy, they know they need to connect, but that can be a daunting exercise for the two of them, both in terms of time and in terms of know-how. And so these intermediaries sort of help to bridge that. They help to kind of translate the language between the two sectors for one another to make it make sense and have it lead to student outcomes. The work started with just 2 intermediaries in 2 complex areas on Oahu. And P20, we always had this statewide vision for the work that every school district across the state would have access to an intermediary. And so for the past 3 years, that's exactly what we set out to do, was grow the number of intermediaries and the number of partnerships to support the work. On Kauai and Oahu were the first 2 intermediaries. And then we have Kauai Economic Development Board, Hawaii Workforce Pipeline, who's joining us today, the Chamber of Commerce, and Cultivate Hawaii. And then more recently, which we're really proud of, is we entered partnerships with MEDB and Vibrant Hawaii to provide these services to the other 2 districts that were not formally covered. Funding the work, we have partnerships with the DOE. Castle Foundation has been a huge cornerstone for this work. Hawaii Workforce Funders Collaborative came on sort of midway and have been a great partner as well. And we've been leveraging federal dollars through our Gear at Hawaii grant that sits with P20 to support and grow the work. And then really where we're seeing a lot of the impact and the focus areas are in these four areas. So education and training alliances. The intermediaries are crucial in uniting partners, either around a shared vision for a pathway or a program. They formalize what that relationship looks like between industry and education. That can be setting goals, helping to manage resources, maintaining progress as pathways grow. Another area is alignment with economic growth. Intermediaries really are critical in helping to design pathways alongside the schools. They align the education side, employer needs. Like I said earlier, they help to translate those needs to one another, coordinate the work, build capacity, and weave in the data, the work-based learning data as the pathway grows. Equity, because of where intermediaries sit, it's the perfect vantage point to kind of find the pukas and find the gaps. And so they're able to advocate for equitable pathways, support pathways as they take a look at their data and see, who's not being served with work-based learning, where do we need more partnerships, and then intermediaries can bring in that expertise to kind of, solve for those issues and drive for change. And then the last being workforce synergy. So one big function is, I think, storytelling. And we're seeing a lot of the intermediaries take the time to tell the stories and gather the stories from teachers, from students, from families about the impact that pathways and work-based learning is having on their students. They're tracking the outcomes. They're building that capacity alongside the employer and the schools. And then, of course, they're just continuously improving their craft as the relationships grow. And we're talking about students, and that's why it matters. We're talking about investing in Hawaii's future workforce. We are seeing the benefits for students in these three areas. It's really helping students apply the academic learning in real-world contexts, gaining and exposing students to real skills that they will be using in real jobs. And then, of course, growing their networks, I think, which is another important aspect of the intermediary work, is connecting students with professionals and potential careers. I'll put the link to this deck in the chat if that's okay. So you can click on this current progress. That's a link there. That's just a report that we, like a 1-pager, 2-pager that we put out at the end of the school year. But last year we saw a lot of really good numbers that we're really proud of. We brokered 200 work-based learning opportunities across 59 schools, engaged with over 1,000 professionals. Nearly 15,000 students participated in work-based learning, ranging from guest speaking, career fairs, mock interviews, job shadows, internships, really a continuum of experiences. Funding has primarily come, as I showed you before, from philanthropic dollars. Recently, like I said, we've expanded to Maui and Hawaii Island, and we continue to work with the DOE to sustain the work beyond our grants. And I'm going to stop here, and I guess we can do questions after Jen, if that's okay. And I'll turn it over to Jen. That was sort of, like I said, the what and the why. Jen, maybe you can hop on and just very briefly give them a peek behind the curtain on the how.
All right, the fun part, right?
Exactly.
The how. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. Hey, I'm Jen from Hawaii Workforce Pipeline, with one of the intermediaries that was identified from Ryan. We are a nonprofit organization that partners with the Department of Education for Windward, as well as for the Honolulu District. I myself lead the Honolulu District from K-12, and our co-founder, Dr. Rachel Aquino, leads the Windward District. All right, so our approach is really to connect the community and the schools, and with these 3 pillars here. So, of course, our students are the center and the heart of what we do, and using these different components is really just creating these these experiences for our students and leading them to amazing experiences and work-based learning opportunities. So starting with the home as the start of their guidance for their career interests, and then also tying in the school where they build out their knowledge, they're able to gain these different experiences as well too, and then connecting them with the community. So what we do as intermediary is really connect these schools and the teachers, our students, with quality businesses to help them explore more about their career interests. And it's really about building and maintaining relationship. It's not just like a one done type of thing. It's really building it out for our students and our teachers. So that way they also have a network that they can go to throughout the school year. Every experience is really different. And so our students and teachers are really the heart of what we do. And it's customized to what they actually need in the classroom. So starting off with a conversation on what is the goals, what do they hope to accomplish with their different experiences, and what can we do to partner them up with these quality businesses that aligns well with their goals. So the vision and really our intermediary-driven work-based learning is the exposure, exploration, and experiences and scaffoldings do different experiences starting with elementary school. Our support spans from K to 12. And so starting off with our elementary schools and bringing them that awareness of different career paths through career fairs or even guest presenters, and then moving up into experiences with our high school students as well too. We do share with our industry that elementary is also a crucial time for them to, just kind of share out their career pathways and just kind of share all these different opportunities that we have within their career sector. And with that, it's just really bringing them to that awareness and connection, hopefully, as they move up into their academic years in middle school and in high school. As I mentioned earlier, each of our experiences and the supports that we provide both Windward and Honolulu is designing a personalized plan for our educators, for our students, and creating all of these different experiences for them. We've recently also helped our businesses to create and co-design experiences that will help to support our teachers and our students. So that is a win-win type of situation where we're helping to build out their workforce for specific career sectors, but also supporting our teachers and our educators to bring them these different type of awarenesses. And again, it starts with their goals. I've mentioned that these experiences are really starts off with a conversation. So meeting with our students, meeting with our teachers, getting to know them, their personal goals, their professional goals, and how we can better support them and align them and partner them up with the right businesses. From there, after having that conversation, it's really for us to do our research and our outreach, reaching out to several different businesses, talking to them about what is expected, what the goals are, what we can do to help to support our students and our teachers, and how we can support their businesses as well too. And then going into their experiences as well. We do our best to also prepare our students, and you'll see in the next few slides that we prepare our students, we prepare our teachers, and we also prepare our industry professionals for what we hope to accomplish with these experiences. Finally, we go through the work-based learning experiences, and it doesn't end there. We also go back and kind of talk about like, how did the experience go? What can we do to better support you? Is there additional support or things that we can do to help in the classroom or even the businesses as well? A lot of times we work with the business and see if there's other opportunities that we can help their team members or connect them with other schools within our districts to bring these different career awareness back into the classrooms and also back into the workforce. Our support has expanded since we first started. We first started off with our CTE programs and just supporting these students and our teachers. Since then, we've actually gone outside of the CTE academies and pathways and has supported our students who are referred by counselors. We've also helped to support our special education students. And this year, we're also working with our ALPS and working closely with them to support their high school and their middle school students. For educators, again, like I've mentioned, we started off with our CTE coordinators and their department, but have also expanded our support to help our counselors and our administrators with different type of experiences, whether it be a school-wide program or individual teachers or students that we can help to bring these awareness. For industry professionals, we look at the 13 different pathways in all career sectors as well. For a lot of our schools and our students, trades is also one of the high interests. And so we try to also look for these type of career experiences that will bring different opportunities and awareness to our students. On to our educator experiences. So our educator experiences and what we've done to support both of our district ranges from classroom support, from classroom presentations, curriculum support, or even career focus visit. On the bottom, you'll see Tech Armor, where we've created virtual field trips. And this is really to expand our students and our teachers' knowledge of different types of career sectors and not necessarily having them on site, but also providing these opportunities to build out their virtual library to learn more about different types of career opportunities out in the community. Department supports and school supports as well too. So providing presentations for our students and our teachers that's departmental specific to the CTE programs and academies. Mock interviews, CTE judges are also one that we've helped to support as far as school-wide events, and then career fair, which Ryan had also mentioned. Teacher externship are teachers who, they're willing to learn more about how they can bring relevant real-world experiences back to their classrooms and work with a mentor within the industry to bring all these experiences back into their classroom and also build out their curriculum as well. So with the teacher externship, some of our experiences have started with experiences going out into the businesses, our teacher learning from the mentors, and eventually having these businesses come back to their classrooms, do some classroom presentations, building out their network, and create different types of projects that they can work on together with their students and continue to build out that relationship with businesses as well. In addition to that, it's also partnering up with education. So having them to helping our schools, to build out their board advisory, creating mentorship programs that will help them with things that are happening in the classroom or future events that they have that's happening within their schools, and also co-designing work-based learning experiences, like I've mentioned, with our businesses and also with our teachers. Before our students actually go on to their work-based learning experiences, we put on a professionalism workshop where we work with the teachers. We've created this menu for the Honolulu district to kind of learn more about how we can better prepare our students to be in the workforce, to be in a professional setting. So we start off with learning more about the students and how we can better understand what their personal goals are, their professional goals are, and also their career interests. There are certain activities that we also do to help them align their personal goals and professional goals to certain careers that they may not necessarily be aware of, but bringing that awareness to them and hopefully sparking them to kind of want to learn more about these specific interests that they haven't heard of. Work-based learning experiences are things that we kind of bring out with the students and kind of share these type of supports that we can bring to them. So using their career interest and kind of seeing where it would fit best for them to go and explore more about their career interest. Helping them to do their own outreach. We have some students who have that initiative and want to go out and meet industry on their own. And so just guiding them and just helping them learn more about how to do this and how to go about taking that initiative and connecting with businesses. For professionalism, we work with the students to learn what it is like to be professional. So what does that mean? A lot of us students may not know what that means. And so talking about the effective way of communicating, how to use social media correctly, the professional image based on the career sector that they would like to get into, and also helping them to create and even revise their their resumes and their cover letter. One of the things that we do as intermediaries is to have this ability for the students to send us their resumes or cover letter so that we can go ahead and provide feedback for them and help them to craft their resumes and cover letters before they send it out to industry. And another thing that we do within these professionalism workshop is social capital, and just bringing that awareness that even as a high school student, they're able to build out their professional network, starting with their family, and how their family is also tied in to various people outside in the community that could potentially help them and guide them with their career interests. Upon completing the workshop, we do present our students with a certificate. And these certificate is just to show them that they've completed the professionalism workshop, and it's also a way for them to add on to their resume that they've completed a workshop. We also encourage them to kind of share this out with industry that, you know, this is one thing that I've done to help myself and to better prepare myself for the workforce, is to just learn more about how I can be prepared and be more professional in various different ways. So what does it look like for our students? So there's various different types of experiences that we've helped to support our students. One that we've done is virtual career focused conversation. It's really to show them, you know, that there's different ways of connecting with our students. We do want to respect our businesses as well too, as much as we want them to support as much as possible because how amazing they are. We do have to be respectful of their time frame and their capacity as well. So we found that virtual career focused conversation has been effective in connecting our students with businesses that may not necessarily have that time, but has that willingness to support our students. This is also great for students who are still not exactly sure what they want to get into, but have various type of career interests in different types of career sectors. So we'll set them up, prepare them, help them to guide or create a guiding questions for the day of the workshop, or for the day of the virtual conversation. And from there, myself or a team member will be there to help guide or facilitate the conversation. But ultimately, we help to prepare the students so that way they can drive that conversation during this hour that they have with industry professionals. A lot of times our industry will ask them, hey, why don't you come to the business site and kind of just meet the team members and learn what it's like to be within this career. So we'll schedule 1-day career shadowings or career inquiry where students are there for a few hours, taking a tour of the business site, talking more to the businesses and also to their team members and learning if this is exactly the type of the career pathways that they want to get into. Some of our students have also got into career shadowings where this is 2 days or more, where they've done a combination of shadowing their mentors or even taking part in certain task that needs to be completed for that day. And again, these hours are really dependent on the students and what their expectations are. We've also had students where they've had long-term experiences in internship, and they've been at the internship site wanting to gain as much experiences as they want as well. So some of the examples that we have here, again, is a virtual conversation leading up to and building out their network with 1-day career inquiries and career shadowing. We've also had internship and volunteer programs as well too that our students have taken part of. I'll touch on the virtual conversation, and that's also just one thing that we've highlighted because it has connected our students with various different types of opportunities. I've mentioned students may not know necessarily what they want to get into, and they just want to learn more about what career path they would like to follow. Some of the students want to get into different types of internship, but because of the capacity or the time frame of the businesses, this is one way to connect and hopefully be invited back into their businesses and continue their experiences as well too. All of these students that has experienced the virtual conversation has gone through the professionalism workshop. So that way it's also preparing them to speak to our professionals and industry professionals. And then, like I've mentioned, one of our team members is always there to support our students as much as possible if needed. So some of our student outcomes that I have here, we currently have Tech Armor, who we co-designed an internship program with. And with this, the students are trained on site on how to repair, I believe it's cell phones, how to repair cell phones. And upon completion of their internship program, if things go well, the assessments go well as well too, they'll be offered employment with the company. The middle video, you see Caitlin, and she was actually interested in being a welder. And so she's currently employed with Pacific Welding and Manufacturing and attending HCC at the same time. So she's actually a welder's assistant at Pacific Welding. And then finally, we also have a graduate who wasn't exactly sure what she wanted to do. We helped to support her within the year, but because she still wanted to explore different types of career pathways within healthcare, she came back and reached out to us after she graduated to learn more, wanting to learn more about the healthcare pathway as well too. And she participated in various virtual conversations. And we always end our year with an appreciation luncheon. We know it takes a lot of time and dedication on our teachers and our students and our businesses as well too. And so this is really our time to give back and just say thanks for everything that they've done.
Thanks, Jen. Awesome. Steve, did you feel the need to jump in at all or highlight anything else?
Just that this is a super collaborative effort. I mean, like it is one of the most complicated puzzles to put together that I've ever been a part of, and that's saying something. Like in terms of the various funding sources, the various partners from DOE to the Workforce Development Council to some federal programs. So just appreciate everybody working together and appreciate 1L and the DOE and the collaboration there. I think the next step for us is just figuring out how do we sustain what's been built. I'm really proud that we're able to reach our goal of having this in every single corner of the state. I mean, that was the goal, right? Is every single high school in the state has opportunity to coordinate with intermediaries, so mostly high school kids could get work-based learning opportunities, and we're finally there. And so just want to mahalo everybody for the great work on that.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for the presentation. Are there any questions for our friends from P20 or for Jen? Super side note question then for Jen. What platform or program were you using for your slides? Because the animations came through like butter. I've noticed that PowerPoint, the animations get real clunky as you switch from slide to slide, and the transitions do as well. But your transitions and animations very smooth. So what platform or program were you using?
Canva.
Canva. Makes sense. Makes sense. I'll ask the same question that I did to Kalana as well. What are, you noted at the very beginning, Ryan, the complexity of and sometimes complications of the process of making all these connections and making the network work for you. But what are if you could drill down on some of the key points of the challenges that you face, how they manifest and how you overcome that?
Yeah, I think as we've matured in the work, it's never the same region to region. And so though, I'd like to say that there are a lot of similarities, and there might be, but really it's been adapting to each region, and like that's how we've been able to organize ourselves. But the solutions happen really when we just get everyone in the room. There's no secret sauce, I don't think. It's just really working through and being very candid with one another about what it is working in each region. There are a few common strings that I think we've been able to implement across Jen and the other intermediaries. But a regional focus, I think, continues to be in my mind, the right path forward. I think what we could also do is get a bit more sector specific and be a bit more intentional about getting the different sectors in the room to meet those regional needs as we continue to mature. And that'll be definitely something that I intend to integrate based on the regional needs.
Copy that. Thank you. Any other questions?
We have one here in the room.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Raymond Sin, active duty, United States Air Force. I was another board meeting with the University Regents, the University of Hawaii. So is everyone aware of the new president of the University of Hawaii system? There's 10 campuses throughout the state of Hawaii. I'm from Torrance, California, so extremely new to the state of Hawaii. But there were two professors that actually came up to speak, to give public testimony. One was Miss Ashley Maynard, professor, as well as Edo Biagoni. So curious, what do you think they might have discussed, the two most important things they want to bring up to the Board of Regents, as well as to the president, Miss Wendy Hensel, just to think about. So actually the two things they actually wanted to talk about, one was the use of technology, artificial intelligence. Professor Edo Biagoni is actually a professor of computer science. Professor Ashley Maynard is a professor of psychology. So they wanted to talk about computer science, technology in every form of employment, touching in every element, as well as psychology in a way of how do you really participate in civic affairs, as well as how to utilize maybe psychological tests to match that labor pool between private and public sector. It could be high school students just graduating or for college students. Myself, as a former licensed high school teacher in the state of Nevada, the ninth island, Las Vegas, I've seen that sort of difficulty very much. A lot of students that come from different socioeconomic backgrounds. But in the college level, this is the Board of Regents for Institutional Success and Student Success. They did talk about something similar to my military background currently, is how to utilize tests, intelligence, fitness, as well as just academic, different technical skill examinations for them to match the right job for them. So I just want to mention that. And yeah, just a question for the staff, what's really the challenge for matching some of these labor pool participants, high school or college students? I think this is a very unique opportunity. I think it's a 5-year appointment by the governor for the University of Hawaii president. So I think she just started off in January. I think this is a great opportunity to work with a lot of the stakeholders there, a lot of the educational leadership there as well. Just had some curiosity of what you might think as to kind of working with them or any psychological tests or utilizing technology.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, this is Steve Schatz. I would say, I think one of the good things is we see alignment between the University of Hawaii's direction and their strategic plan and this effort to get more work-based learning going. For just to be clear though, our work with work-based learning intermediaries is on the K-12 side, mostly concentrated at the high school level. Yeah, so but I think what's cool is I think everybody's starting to realize that one of the ways that we can, build Hawaii graduates for Hawaii's future, to not to repeat a phrase that we've used, is to get kids really excited about what they're studying by giving them real world connections to businesses here in the state. And then so I see that kind of happening both at the K-12 level and higher ed. I think one of the next steps for us would be, like, as you mentioned, I think the DOE is sort of thinking about what is the process through which a high school kid plans his or her future, and to what extent is work-based learning like an integral part of that, so they can get excited about not only what they want to be when they grow up, but also like figure out if it's right for them, right? Not figure out if they have the aptitude for it, figure out if they have the work ethic for it, figure out if they have the stomach for it. So we're excited that work's going on. I'll just add one more complication, which is we're just starting to work with the more rural and remote communities. And so work-based learning, I think Ryan made a good point, which is like we've got to differentiate and be flexible in our implementation. And I don't even think we know what that flexibility will look like as we start to go to like some of the more rural parts of Maui County and Hawaii County, right? That like you don't have the businesses in the region necessarily to connect the kids with. So I think the solutions are going to be different the more we as we expand, in particular to our neighbor islands and rural and remote communities.
Yeah, just real quick, I actually was a teacher in Clark County in Las Vegas, Nevada. So I had an opportunity to work as a substitute for a bit on sort of the edge cases in Clark County. So most of the city, the economies, the gaming and gambling industry, entertainment industry, hospitality, there's a lot of places where there's only like 6 students total in a certain area. They still have to accommodate education for them. So a lot of these students, like their parents are either, working the construction or is it like silver mining? I think there's like small oil fields in the sort of outskirts of Clark County. And a lot of the students that I work with, a lot of them actually learn things from just surrounding themselves through just going to their father's workplace. Maybe sometimes they have to go into downtown on the strip of Las Vegas, as well as the beauty of the internet and the technology is that it evens the playing field. So I think utilizing technology less is more is sort of something that, at least for the Clark County School District, we were able to really bridge that gap between the students that are maybe not as privileged from a different socioeconomic background and average, and so to bridge that gap through technology.
Copy that. Thank you. Anyone else?
Chair, I have a question.
Yep. Go ahead, Manette.
So this is a Stephen or maybe Warren question. So since its inception, the intermediaries project has really made an impact. And I saw the numbers 15,000. So are we, and you also talked about, I think Ryan talked about the data that you are gathering. So to what extent are we tracking that data for each student? So do we have data that would say from elementary school to high school, they've been exposed to 6 internship opportunities, and this is the pathway that they seem to be. So I guess the other part of that question is, are we then able to take a look at maybe the risk, whether there's any inherent risk for each student, so we can probably step up to make sure that we mitigate those risks?
I'll let 1L correct me as soon as I mess something up here, but I think the truth of the matter is the data collection that we've done has been pretty it's been, MacGyvered, so to speak, over the last few years. But the DOE has made a pretty big step towards collecting data, in particular on the far end of the spectrum of work-based learning, which is internships, by creating a course code. So in other words, as part of every course at the DOE has a course code. And by making that a course code, then they'll have data on kids who have internships going forward. I think this is the first year. Is that right, Wena? So we don't really have any, we don't have the way that we have really tangible data by student for achievement, attendance, all that kind of stuff. We don't have that yet. It's been a little bit hand cobbled together to get to where we are. But I think in the future it'll get a little cleaner. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, good job. One of the things that we're looking at in the department is trying to better track our work-based learning activities that we're providing our students. Like Steve mentioned, we did create codes so that we can track internships, but we also want to be able to look at other types of work-based learning opportunities through the K-12 continuum. So that's something that we are working on.
Good data is always hard to come by, but I'm glad you're making an effort.
Awesome. Any other questions? Okay, seeing no further questions, thank you to our friends from Hawaii P20, to Warren, Ryan, and Stephen. And also thank you very much, Jen, for the presentation. Up next, I would like to now introduce our Workforce Development Council Executive Director, Bennett Misalucha, to give her updates.
Thank you very much, Chair. So I have 2 parts of this report. one of which is hopefully I can pull it up and it's not showing. Hang on a second. Oh, here. You know what? I'll go to the first one and then I'll go to the Excel spreadsheet afterwards. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yep, good check.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so it's going to be a quick report, but I'd like to focus on what we have in store for the second quarter for 2025. Some updates on projects and some upcoming events that hopefully you can mark on your calendars. So for the second and third quarters, there's a lot of continuum. We're administering the projects that are under the PY 2022 unexpended funds, one of which is Hawaii P20. So we hope that a lot of those services will be ending by June 30 to comply with the funds itself. If you recall, and again, this is just to provide some context, for WIOA funds, the state has 3 years to spend the monies. 2 years are allocated for the local areas, and then whatever they do not spend goes back to the state. And the state then is able to spend the money for 1 year. And whatever extra needs to go back to the federal government, which we do not want. So we are in the process right now of, and I have a slide regarding that. So we have staff training that we're conducting. We also have working towards an effort to demarcate roles and responsibilities for Workforce Development Council and the Workforce Development Division. As many of you are aware, we are in the middle of the implementation of our unified plan. We continue to build strategic alliances with many members of our community, particularly those that are very much aligned with what Workforce Development Council's agenda is. We're trying to, within the scope of what is technologically possible, we're developing some new website functions. And of course, we continue to build capacity amongst our local boards, trying to connect them with resources so that they can be apprised on the realm of possibilities. So this is the one that I was talking about. We have 6 projects to the tune of 1.5 million. We have UH Community College, where they're trying to put together an initiative to increase enrollment in WIOA, the Hawaii P20 Intermediaries Project, a University of Hawaii, in collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce, is trying to set up a transportation sector partnership. There is a research now going on the American Job Centers and how we can increase and improve their utilization. And before you know it, we're going to be in the middle of a PR campaign to draw attention and increase the visibility of our American Job Centers. So this is our update on Unified Plan. We're now going to be scheduling the second round of pillar meetings. We are in the middle also of a National Governor Association grant, wherein they're giving us some technical expertise on formulating our state North Star. And there's a timeline here for implementation. I think many of you have seen this before. So we're hoping to move towards trying to make sure we have the elements necessary for our July 2025 Synergy Summit 2. And that is happening on July 9th, 2025. All of this is hopefully also allowing us to have the governor launch our North Star and also proclaim September as our Workforce Development Month. And our upcoming events, as I mentioned, second meetings of the pillar groups, we have Synergy Summit, and please mark your calendar. September is Future of Work Conference. And that's it. But I do have one more slide, and hang on a second because it's very important. And this is Okay, hang on. Now I don't even see it. Hang on. Sorry about this. And I need to really have you take a look at this because this is important information. From time to time, I have shared with you the fiscal status of our WIOA youth funds. And so this is now where I'm gonna share this. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is an update on where we are as of March, as far as spending youth funds. So if you recall, 2 years, right? The local boards have to spend the money. And then, so that's like PY 2022 is what we're spending now. So this is what it looks like because we've been monitoring the forecast because we do not want to be in a position where it's January and we're scrambling to have a bid to, what do you call it, go through the procurement process. Okay, so if you take a look, this is the budgeted amount for PY 2023. So Oahu was budgeted 1.8, Big Island, yada, 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 for a total of about 2.8 for youth funds only. So this is what has been spent. And I think of all the islands, the Big Island seems to be the one who is at least a little bit above 50% in spending the money. So at the end of the day, June 30 being the end of the fiscal year, if you can do a run rate, how much they're spending, as of March, they have about 2.8 that has not been spent out of youth funds. So again, this is not set in stone yet. I'm just providing you a forecast so that then you're not surprised because youth committee is supposed to be taking a look at our youth fiscal health. Any questions? Okay, thank you, Chair.
No.
Back to you.
Very good. If there are no further questions, thank you very much, Bennett. And that's it for the majority of the agenda. But this would be the time for announcements and public testimony. If at this time, the public is welcome to announce upcoming events and comment on relevant issues that were not included in this meeting's agenda. Please be advised that in compliance with the Sunshine Law, the committee cannot discuss or act on issues that were not included in this meeting's agenda, but issues raised during this period may be included in a future agenda for the committee's consideration. We ask that comments be limited to 2 minutes each per speaker. Are there any announcements or public testimonies or public events? Janet, go ahead.
Thank you. I don't know how to make the electronic hand go. Thank you for giving me a couple of minutes. I'll go fast. And thank you, Bennett, for letting me know about this meeting. My name is Janet Davidson. I am the Vice Provost for Academic Affairs at Chaminade University and also oversee our prison education program. We are about to graduate our second cohort of Associate of Arts degree recipients. They are getting an AA in Business Administration. And we're starting a BA program in the fall. So we're very proud of that program. But what we're seeing, obviously, no surprise to us and to folks in the room, one of the biggest barriers our folks face when they get out, housing and employment, right? Sort of meaningful employment. So we are holding, kind of as part of our work, looking to strengthen some of these education to employment pathways. We are holding a symposium on June 25th, 2025. I just dropped the link in the chat as well and my email address, but Pathways to Meaningful Work Symposium. The idea again is to strengthen these pipelines, education to employment. And we're hoping to have educators, workforce leaders, community partners, and correctional facilities all in the same room. We have speakers from the Vera Institute of Justice that will be on site to talk a little bit about skills gaps and how our programs or programs like ours might help to fill some of the skills gaps that exist in industry. Right, and what we might be able to do to better prepare our students to meet some of those gaps. We have the executive director for the National Institute for the Alliance of Higher Education in Prison, who is also going to talk a little bit about the work he's done in finding paid internships and paid work for folks while they're still incarcerated. So again, it sort of helps really set them up for success, gives them experience, allows them to start building their resume before they graduate and before they re-enter into our community. And then we have a correctional representative from the Kansas Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, who's going to talk a little bit about some of the work that they've done in navigating this space. So we're really hoping that we can get folks in the room for conversation and to think about how we can really better serve this population, especially this, I think the larger population, but for us really focusing on these students who are earning degrees behind bars. How do we really help set them up for success on the other side of that? All right, I think I did that in 2 minutes, so I will stop.
Well done. Thank you very much. Any other announcements?
There's a
or-
question, Chair.
Copy that. Halen, go ahead.
Thank you so much. My name is Halen Dennison. I'm the executive director of Spill the Tea Cafe, which is a mental health clinic for youth ages 13 to 24. We're a grassroots 501c3. This is our 3rd year, and we do have an event coming up on June 13th, Friday, and it is free for 18 years old and under. The past 2 years, it has been called Youth Pride Fest. We're the only Youth Pride event in Hawaii. However, this year it's called Youth Thrive Fest because of like the federal funding. We service 600 kids per year, and 1/3 of them don't have the ability to pay, or they might be part of the queer community. And so we really try to raise funds in order to make sure that they can access the mental health care. I don't want to be depressing, but you know, unfortunately, this population is highest risk for suicide, depression, sex work, and just so many other things like houselessness and just rejection and a lot of isolation. And so we do try to like wrap our arms around these youth. And so I did drop the event again for anyone 18 and under. The event is free. It's going to be at the Kahala this year. It is our 1st year that we're funded. So we're very excited about it. And we really just want it to be a place for kids. And again, all kids can celebrate who they are. We're really about empowering the kids, not having them stay feeling like victims. And we hope that this event will really celebrate the youth and then have them elevate their voice. So I just wanted to let you all know about that.
Copy that. Thank you very much. Any other announcements or public testimonies? Okay. Seeing none, the next meeting is tentatively scheduled for July 11th, 2025, 1:30 p.m. via Zoom and at the Department of Labor offices, 830 Punch Bowl Street, room 317. Thank you all for your attendance. Thank you all for your energy and for the information and for your participation. There being no further business, I'm going to give back 7 minutes to everybody's lives, and we'll make it 6 minutes now. The meeting is now adjourned at 2:54 p.m. Mahalo.
Thank you.